Welcome to Western Wisconsin Journal. I'm Bobby Pominville. I'm your reporter on the arts. Today I've invited a friend. Her given name is Dr. Kristen Tjornehoj, and she is the University of Wisconsin River Falls Professor of Music. She's a conductor of the St. Croix Valley Symphony Orchestra. That's just a little bit of what she does, but I'm going to call my friend Kris today. So welcome.
Thank you very much. I'm glad to be here.
I'm delighted you're back. It's been a long time. You are professor of music at UWRF. Could you tell us about your job and your responsibilities at the university?
Sure. I am entering my 27th year at the University of Wisconsin River Falls, and there I currently conduct the symphony band. I teach conducting to students, and that pretty much is my responsibility these days. I do some grant writing. I lead a coffee concert series. Of course, as you've mentioned, I conduct the St. Croix Valley Symphony Orchestra. And at the university, in the past, recently, I was the chair of the department. Yes. And so I was in charge of, remodeling the concert hall and raising funds to infuse the department with technology and a variety of other leadership roles. And so I have to admit to you, I'm totally enjoying this chapter where I am not any longer supervising student teachers or teaching music ed or any of those things. So I've done quite the gamut. But one of the things I am doing is I'm designing and implementing an online class in world music. And that is my new challenge for being not the youngest person on the staff.
That's a great challenge.
It is a challenge. And so then I'm doing actually similar webinars and seminars and trying to learn as much as I can about different countries. And then I video it all and put it online. And so that is my new challenge in life, is online teaching.
And I think you were talking about this a few years back, and it was very innovative at that point.
Very innovative.
Not many people were doing that.
Absolutely. As one of the very few who decided, in fact, they said, if you want to learn how to teach an online class, we'll give you a headset, and you can have time in the studio, and then you'll get upgraded computer programs. And I said, okay. Sounds good to me.
Really?
That's kind of where it started. And then I just didn't want the technology to leave me. Yeah. And of course, the technology changes all the time. So that's my new challenge in life. And as I'm not really teaching a lot face-to-face anymore with classes, we've got a wonderful staff and music ed people and specialists in different areas that I've helped organize and coordinate. So you don't want to push them out. So I'm focused on online teaching.
Oh, great. And I just have to say, watching you conduct an orchestra is one of my favorite things.
Well, thank you.
It's not just the music, it's the way you conduct. And I have watched a lot of conductors in my time, and I have to compliment you.
Well, thank you. It's definitely a passion.
I've told other people this. You are my favorite conductor.
How sweet is that?
And it's not just music, but we're friends too.
Thank you.
Well, that is quite a resume alone. And I loved the thought of that online class. Well, let's go back a little bit, because I like to hear about your educational background and how you got to this point where you have your doctorate.
Well, I grew up in New Richmond, Wisconsin, so I am a hometown kind of girl from the Valley. And for college, I went to Luther College in Decorah, Iowa, where I still am quite involved. I'm actually the guest conductor for the Dorian Band Festival this year.
Oh,
and
my goodness.
I did their summer camp 2 years ago, and I'm very involved as the class agent. So I do a lot of things that continue to support it, and I'm starting a scholarship in honor of my college band director. So I'm very involved in my alma mater because it was so good to me, and so therefore it's something I don't want to ever forget or get too far away from. So I went to Decorah, and then upon graduation, I got my first job in Hudson, Wisconsin.
Just like I did.
And I taught choir at the middle school and band at the middle school.
Yes.
And I accompanied, at the time, the St. Croix Valley Boy Choir because I had quite an interest in the piano and saxophone. Those are my two main instruments.
Yes.
And so that is when, obviously, we first met because you were recommended as my accompanist for
that goes
for
back
the middle
a few
school
years.
choir. So I've had quite a ride, and I only really had the opportunity to teach middle school 2 years because I was ushered into the high school position.
Right.
And told that my skills were needed to lead the band. And so for another 13 years, I led the bands at Hudson High School. And I can honestly stand here or sit here and say I loved every minute of it.
Oh,
it was such a challenge, and it was so rewarding.
Yes.
And I took that band to Carnegie Hall 2 times.
Oh, wow.
Changed my life. We had many tours to Florida, Washington, D.C. So our marching program was very strong.
Oh, I remember.
And the concert band playing at conventions. I just thought that everybody did these things. And so every year we had something exciting. I commissioned my first work from Dan Kallman.
Oh, I know that name.
Who was is still a great composer in Northfield, Minnesota.
Yes.
So Hudson was really good to me, and I loved every bit of it, and I've never left.
Oh, and I used to watch your marching band in the different parades and so on. And it was really fun to have you there. I was teaching mostly elementary then, but we crossed paths a lot.
Absolutely.
And that friendship from the middle school, I have to say, we ended up in a birthday club together, and it's been such a delight.
It's sustaining friendships.
Yes, it is, exactly. Well, now we're going to move on to another new venue. You might have, I forget if you started this one. I think you were involved in putting together Opera on the River. Am I right?
So the Opera on the River, I can comment on that. That's a new thing to the Valley, and obviously my life is dedicated toward bringing music to the Valley in any way, shape, or form. Mm-hmm. And there are 2 Luther graduates that met with me, Obed and Megan Floan, and it was their dream to start this opera company.
Oh my.
And one of Obed's first students was a gentleman named Jack Swanson. Well, Jack grew up in the church that I have been a part of, Shepherd of the Valley, for many years. And his father is a good friend of mine and sings in my church choir.
Oh.
And so Jack is my son's age, and so I've watched this whole career develop. And so Obed was Jack's teacher, and so when they were putting this together, Tim and Debbie Swanson said to me, you know, we need you involved in this, because this is a brilliant idea. It gets Jack home in the summers. These people are kind of new to the Valley. They teach lessons, and can you help at all? So began the meetings and help steer and infiltrate their vision for Opportunity is the name of their company. Oh. So it was really an honor to be a part of that. And I ended up being the conductor.
Yes.
And getting the orchestra and basically being a part of this whole thing. So they came up with the singers, Jack and friends, really is the way to put it. Oh, yeah. And they were absolutely world-class singers.
Oh my.
They're the young ones, so they're like 27 to 30, but they all have won awards and are singing internationally.
My word.
So this is top of the pile. So this is what happened, and we put our heads together, and Obed and Megan are definitely leading it and leading it strongly, and it was just a beautiful experience.
Oh, that sounds wonderful. And the music is something we all should aspire to.
I agree.
I mean, at elementary, I couldn't go into opera very much. But I have to tell you, it's always been a love of mine.
And you know what? Just to listen is just as much, and to learn about these things and to learn to appreciate them. Yes. I always say that for every person who's performing or has the honor to be the conductor, the singer, whatever it is, we need an audience. Oh, and
yes.
so our energy comes from giving and sharing our gift with an audience. So we need just as many people in the seats as we do on the stage.
That's true. And if you can attract that audience, when you mention the word opera, sometimes people kind of stiffen up.
Well, in this Opera on the River, what we did is we did vignettes, so we did small things.
Oh, yes.
So we had West Side Story,
Oh, yeah.
Well, it was a potpourri. So yes, if you listen to Pavarotti, you could hear some of those, the standards, if you will.
Oh, yes.
But you would recognize probably everything on that we performed. So we balanced it between musical theater and opera.
Oh, perfect.
And then that way we knew it was more accessible to the audience.
Yes.
And so that is the vision and that is the implementation because we know the audience.
Yes.
And with this event, the Opera on the River, we got great publicity. Minnesota Public Radio was supportive of it. Television networks were supportive of it. It really had quite a large net because it was a new idea of bringing something outside in the Stillwater region, and we rented a stage, and the funny thing is the weather was horrible. And what I have to say is that even with inclement weather, we were watching, when is it going to stop raining? And even we had a stage, and even with inclement weather, we know that there were over 650 people at the first performance. So we anticipate when the weather is beautiful and sunshine that we will hopefully see as many people as we can possibly see all the way down the boulevard of the shores
right
of the
on
St.
the
Croix.
St. Croix River.
Yeah.
And your stage, was it kind of on the river?
Yes.
That's what I thought. I've seen that staging before, and I don't know how they do it, but
It was amazing.
yeah.
So I look forward to the next one. So when we say opera on the river, you have to be careful. They're small. Yeah, maybe that's deceiving because it really will balance between musical theater and opera
good.
Excerpts. And
That's
so then,
great.
therefore, there's instruction, there's knowledge,
Right.
and nothing real heavy, and wonderful, beautiful soloists.
Wonderful. So, do you have anything scheduled yet for 2020?
Yes.
You do?
And I'll tell you what's going to happen. New Year's Eve, there will be a show at Trinity Lutheran Church. Tickets have just gone on sale.
Really?
And there will be a show with some of the cast, some of the singers, and that will be beautiful. And that will be with piano only. We're not bringing in the full orchestra for that
of
show.
course.
But that will provide you all the future. So by the time New Year's Eve comes, we'll have a plan for next summer because this will take place in August again.
So that's another concert that I have not gotten written down here. So I hope you give us some information, and maybe we can put some posters and information up when available.
Sure.
Will you do that?
Happily.
Oh, that sounds absolutely fabulous. New Year's Eve at Trinity, and that's the perfect venue, isn't it?
It is.
I
Great
do
acoustics.
like it there. I've sung there quite a lot. Okay, so wonderful. Oh, I'm so excited for you. Now I want to know about your other concerts. I know you have quite a schedule. I do believe this starts in December.
We have concerts.
But you probably have something before that. Do you have anything?
I do, but the
let's just basically,
let's start with the holiday
okay,
concerts.
let's do that then.
Because those are the ones most people are interested in going to, everything to deal with Christmas.
And I think you call it Christmas celebration.
I do.
Unless you have a different. Okay,
Christmas
that's
celebration.
it. So people could Google it or whatever.
Right. There's a couple ways to see our concerts, but the first one is December 8th for Christmas.
Right.
And that one's at Shepherd of the Valley. And what's happened with these Christmas programs is they've gotten to be a little bigger every single time. And it's a funny thing. I just dropped off 3 boxes of orchestra music as I was trying to. Because, you will have to plan and order ahead and you have to tweak a little bit. And then what's really funny is that people will come up to you in the street and say, oh, I hope you're going to do Bugler's Holiday again. And I was just like, oh, I was going to cut it. Okay, fine. We'll do that again.
I know what you're
so
saying.
I get a lot of feedback.
People have their favorites.
I know it. And so we want to switch things up, but we never want to do that at the expense of some of the what I call golden oldies that just speak to people's heart.
Well, and you got to have at least 3 trumpets for that.
Oh, yeah. We're all set. That's
And
not
of course,
a problem.
I can think of a couple myself, but anyway, yeah, I know why people like those familiar things.
They do.
But sometimes it's fun for musicians to go far afield and do some new things.
So I have to balance that very carefully. So I do.
you do.
Yes, I
You
do.
have your
So what I
audience
do is
people.
I've got a choir at Shepherd of the Valley that they will sing. And then Colleen Raye, do you know the name?
I do. I've heard her.
She's a definite favorite and quite a show person.
Oh, yes.
So she will be the guest soloist on December 8th at Shepherd.
Yes.
And that one, all these concerts are free.
Really?
Yeah. That one's at 4
That's
o'clock.
amazing.
Yep.
Oh, And
everything I do is funded by private donations.
oh wow!
Seriously.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. And so then December 15th, I take the majority of the orchestra with a totally different choir and a different kind of focus.
Right.
And the soloist there is Clark Weyroth, and he's involved in Opera on the River.
Oh,
So he was our
my.
narrator for Opera on the River, but he also has an amazing voice as a tenor. And he and back to Jack Swanson have grown up together and been singing all these years. So anyway, we're going to use Clark
Yes.
on December 15th
Yes.
at Trinity Lutheran in Stillwater, and that one's at 3 o'clock. And so I've got 2 big shows, and my orchestra members, they have no idea. In fact, I tried out to, we practice different things, and I'm like, okay, 1 week before I say, this is for this concert, this is for this concert. And they just look at me, and it always works out.
You're talking your symphony orchestra now.
Symphony
and they'll be
orchestra.
involved in both of those. Oh,
They will.
my goodness.
Yes.
But now, wait a minute. Do you said another choir, a different choir? What did you mean by that? Can you tell us?
The Trinity Lutheran Choir with Carol
Oh,
Carver.
yes, of course.
So
yes.
when we go into Stillwater, I do a completely
course.
different show with Carol.
Yes.
And actually, so it's very, very fun. So they have a different
I just hate
mix.
I know so many people in that group.
Isn't that great? So there's
Oh, how
wonderful musicians all over
wonderful.
this valley.
Oh, I just want to ask you if you can tell me just a couple of the musical selections.
Well, of course. So I will admit that when we do the Trinity concert, that we are going to do 4 selections from the Messiah.
Oh,
So
thank you.
we don't always do that, but we are going to do 4 of the,
my.
and we're going to feature Clark as the tenor soloist. And then Phil Kadidlo is writing an arrangement of a Swedish folk song for us, so we'll do a world premiere.
A Swedish folk song.
Mm-hmm.
Are you going to get technical and tell me which one?
No, I'm not, because I didn't write that down. And so
Okay.
it's kind of
All
new.
right.
I don't have the score yet. So Phil Kadidlo is a brilliant pianist, writer, arranger, and so he will be taking care of that. So we like to support our local musicians, especially brilliant ones.
Well, I have to tell you something. He was my student
I love it.
from first grade on. In first grade, just really quick, I'll tell the story. He came to my classes, every day in the fall, and with his class, 4th Street School, it's now Willow River. And one day he came up to me and he said, Mrs. Pominville, I want to play My Country 'Tis of Thee on the piano. And I thought, ooh, first grade. I didn't know what he was going to do. I've never had anybody say that. So I said, okay, go ahead. And this, big old upright piano. He played America perfectly on the piano, and exactly every chord and every note that I played for them to learn it. And I just thought, this young man is really going to go far in music.
Yeah, he is brilliant.
And of course, we found out his mother was the organist at Episcopal. And when he was in his crib, he could just reach his little hand onto the piano keys. And of course, I thought, that doesn't really do him justice for what he does now. Because his keyboard skills,
Amazing.
absolutely amazing. And it's so great that he did that. He went on and on and on in music.
Yes.
And everybody's just in awe of him. He has been on my show. We have talked once. And I've seen him perform at the Phipps and the Park. So that's really fun for me. So when you praised him.
Well, he's wonderful.
I would praise him too. I mean, I
So-
just think the world of him, and it's so special to know him now.
So that's what we do, is I'm always looking at who are the musicians in the region. And then like even this one I just did a funeral with, James
Yes.
Bowen, and I said, all right, so
Yes.
we're gonna put together a performance. And I said, and I think I'll have you on it and Phil on it. And so we're talking about Roxy, we're talking about some of the alumni from UW River Falls. And I said, how about if we do a coffee concert, and you can join my series for spring. And he said, I don't do full recitals anymore. And I said, great, you don't have to. And I said, said, so let's work together and let's do a little alumni showcase. So today, after we did this funeral together, he agreed that he could do this.
Oh, wonderful.
And so again, one of my greatest joys is to bring musicians together, some that know each other, some that don't, and then collaborate. And this coffee concert series was born out of this that I do now at River Falls. So I've got a few of those coming in. That was born out of the fact that, okay, when you have people, how do they become better musicians? They should hear other musicians better than them. And you should just listen to all styles, all people, and fill your soul.
Wonderful.
So what I started doing is I had this band class, because I conduct the symphony band there.
Right.
And they're 11 to 1 Monday, 11 to 1 Wednesday, and then Friday, 11 to 12. So I thought, okay, they don't have class at 12, but that's a pretty nice hour. I think we'll start bringing people in.
Oh.
And so that is how the Coffee Concert series was born. It's sponsored by
right, it's Friday.
Cast Productions. That's Kristen Ann Skoglund Tjornehoj.
No way. That's clever.
And so, but then since donors, some philanthropists have seen what I've been doing with some of these concerts, and they will literally call me and say, you know, I'd like to support this. I'd like to do that.
My goodness.
So because that's the only way we can function in today's society in the arts.
I know
because we do not have budgets at the university that support these extra creative activities. You have to figure that out on your own.
And I'm so glad you brought that up, because that is so important.
Yeah, wherever you are.
And you have just been able to manage that so well. I have to say, you're really an entrepreneur with it all. And I'm not quite sure now when your next coffee concert is, because this will be airing during November. Can you tell us?
November 15th, I believe that is.
Okay.
Is that a
Friday?
That's a Friday. So I have I've got a quartet, and they are the Isles Quartet from Lake Calhoun.
Oh yes.
And so they will be performing, and they will perform on Friday at noon. And what's interesting is that some of the local elder homes or senior homes are bringing buses.
Oh my word!
It's a free concert.
And it's at noon, I believe.
It's at noon.
At the university.
At the university, Abbott Concert Hall in Kleinpell Fine Arts.
Yes.
So the trick is just to find your own parking. There's parking lots where you can pay, swipe your card for $2. And those coffee concerts have gotten to the point where there's usually upwards of 200 people that come at noon.
Oh my.
And it's a beautiful time for intellectual people to get together and to talk. Yes. And then we have a reception afterwards in the lobby.
That's one of the best parts.
It is, they
don't just leave.
That socialization and talking about what book you've read and what you've attended and what you're doing next and what makes your soul. Sometimes we get too stuck in our homes. We've all built these homes, and then they're bigger and bigger, and you have to get out to experience life and share it.
Right.
Because it's the relationships that count.
Yes, and so many of my friends go, and you often see people you know and other musicians and music lovers. So it's just fun to go and see, all those people and kind of talk about the concert a little bit.
Well, and these are very high quality concerts. So
yes, now you didn't say what kind of quartet, string?
Well, this one has piano, viola, violin, cello, I believe. That's this one.
That's beautiful.
And then the December 13th one has clarinet, cello, piano.
So it's every month, once a month.
Well, the fall I do once a month, and then that allows me to find out how many donations came in.
Oh,
so that I can figure out how many I can have in the spring. Right. So this year, the spring will have 2 a month.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
So that's a real plus.
It's a real treat.
Oh, what fun.
It's just a joy.
And, I just love to listen to ensembles like that. Small groups where you can really watch the people and enjoy, and it's fun.
Well, the chamber ensemble thing is so personal. And here's me as a conductor promoting chamber ensembles because
Well, yeah,
there's
but
such
it's
an
part of it.
interaction. There's such an interaction with the musicians.
I agree.
And just last week I was in Santa Fe meeting with the director of the Chamber Music Festival and asking him, now how do you get these people in and how far do you go in advance? And because he leads the one where there's 100 concerts.
Oh my.
100 concerts, and I believe it's a 6-week series. So I hope to get down there to view that this summer.
Right.
Because again, that intrigues me beyond. And what he does is the very first concert is like, let's say you've got a Joshua Bell coming in on violin, and they are all international.
Oh my
So
goodness.
let's say that you've got him coming in, he'll come in with this pianist, and then he will be paired up with some other, maybe, quartet.
Yes.
And then at the end of the week, they've collaborated and practiced, then they have to do a performance. So it's really focusing on music as the international language and the universal language of communication.
And it is. Oh my.
So I love that idea, and I don't know if I can expand my series to that kind of but I can, a little bit. It's international. I get people like my last concert in, I believe it's the 1st of May, brings a saxophonist in from Brussels, Belgium.
Oh my word.
So it's all fun.
And you know what? You have contacts all over the world because you have been doing a little bit of conducting.
I have.
I don't know if it's through the university or you're freelancing or whatever.
It's not really through the university because it's relationships that I've developed from conferences and presentations and conventions and whatnot.
Right.
And so I've been honored and blessed to conduct the Prague Castle Military Band.
Yes. That's what I was thinking
3
about.
performances. Two of them were, just an amazing experience because you have to remember that first of all, they had never had a female in the group.
Oh.
And then we bring in the conductor.
Yes.
So there were a couple growth pieces to it, and then the conductor who took over was young, and he then, when he had freelance, he hired a couple oboists when I came, so that we had a couple females in the group. He has now since added some women to his group.
Oh, good.
So that's the Prague Castle Wind Band. That's wonderful, big, beautiful, and usually it's not something you can attend because they're private.
Yeah.
And so, but they're in this wonderful hall. Yeah. So that's an honor.
Quite an experience.
So I've been there like 5 times.
And I have been to Prague.
Yeah.
And I've seen the castle.
Spanish Hall is the name of the place that we have our concerts.
And it's amazing.
And I'll be going back 2021. Yes. So I'll be there in July of 2021. So I already know that. And then Spain is the other place that I've had the honor to work with military bands and local community bands. And that started with the 2016 UNESCO International Year of the Woman.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I remember talking to you about that.
So I was brought over to do that. And I thought, well, this is kind of crazy. What's the big deal? Right. Well, I found out what the big deal is. Once again, there were no female conductors. So somebody had the vision to bring in this American. And so I worked with a number of groups. And by the way, a woman that I met along the way, a percussionist, she now has one of the first posts. She just got the job, one of the first jobs for a female band director in Spain.
Oh, that's
so I get to see her this summer, and this is a first. This is a first.
Oh, Kris, we could go on and on, but
it's an honor.
We do have to stop there unless there's anything you forgot. I do want to emphasize to our audience that we hope that you will be at some of the concerts we just talked about, and definitely look up some of these things online at the university, and it'd be lovely if you could see some of these Christmas celebrations. I'm all for it. I just love any venue is at Christmas time. So anyway, I want to thank you for being on the show, Kris.
You're welcome.
And you can always contact me with other information, but I do think we're going to have you back sooner. It's been too long.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. So I want to thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the interview, and we'll take advantage of some of these musical opportunities we just talked about. So again, thank you.